Hello, everyone. I definitely managed to unmute everything in time. Hi, welcome to the
Success.
agenda. This is the transgender, the show that we talk about stuff.
Yep.
We're gonna workshop that intro.
We will come up with a proper intro one day.
Yes.
But for now it's very informal
Mm-hmm.
as it has been this past some odd times.
So many.
But yes, welcome. Hello. It is me and Ash, and we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about some more trans stuff today.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think we might have exhausted the well of things to talk about, but you'd be
Not
wrong.
yet. Not yet.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Elf?
Me, I'm doing fine. I'm doing good. I played some Slay the Spire this morning, and I want to play like a
It
billion
looks
more
good.
hours of it. I'm probably gonna play it right after this as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like
It looks really, really
yeah,
good.
looks fun. It's fun. How about you? What's going on?
I'm doing all right. I had a bit of a rough morning, and then I lay down on the sofa for like an hour, and then something just clicked in my head, and I was like, I have all this energy now. I'm gonna go and
We have
do
things
stuff.
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, I'm doing good now.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear it. I'm glad to hear it. So we had some topic choices to make for this episode, and we thought it
Mm-hmm.
best that we do some viewer questions.
Yeah, we've had a lot of
So to
questions
speak.
over the past few weeks that we haven't been able to answer.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be a good idea just to put out somewhere where people can put a question in, and then we'll answer it on the stream.
So we have a lovely little Google document form that we've distributed the last couple of days, where we've gotten a fair number of questions, and we're gonna address most of them, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, there may be more to talk about in some of them than others, obviously, depending on what we can provide as people.
Yeah.
We only have our own personal experience to draw from, but yeah. So I think that's kind of the plan, right, for today.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
So there's not too much preamble, so to speak. We have a slew of questions that we will get into immediately, and I'm sure at the end or near the end, if you have a burning question, you're like, I didn't get to look at the form, and I couldn't submit a question, and I really want to ask you something. We're gonna have plenty of that.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a chat
at
Q&A
the end
as well.
So it's fine. Just like every episode, we'll have a chat Q&A at the end. So it'll be fine. Hit it up.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Okay. Shall we hit this first question?
Yeah, let's do it. Read it out for us, Ash.
Yeah. So the first question we have is from the lovely Rose Artemis. She asks, in my transition, I've come across a fair few roadblocks where things that may be possible for other trans people may not be possible for me. A couple examples would be tucking and styling my natural hair. And Rose wants to know if there's anything we've had trouble with, and how we managed to overcome those.
Okay, like specific problems that were like, this is the thing we have to deal with that sucks, and it just so I mean, going straight into that first thing that Rose mentioned, the idea of like tucking and like that kind of thing.
I have tips.
I don't and have never done that ever in my life. No, I just let it be.
I wear pretty much exclusively skinny jeans. So I know a fair bit about it. I do it every day. The trick
comes
starting out before I hit the hormones or anything, because it gets easier after you hit hormones. Is to like sit on the toilet and like let everything hang below your legs, and then squeeze your legs together, and then pull your underwear up, and everything should go into place. Is what I'll say. That's a good way to practice.
Can't speak to that. Don't no experience there.
And anything else like it's difficult to find like good advice on it, but honestly, look at drag queen forums, because they know so much about getting the crotch to
About-
look feminine.
Ooh, okay, good start. Good start.
Just jumping in. Not
Solid beginning.
Yeah.
0 to 100. It's good. I like that. But also speaking on like specific problems that we have, so to speak, like, and the idea that, like, you know, we all have these things that bother us, and that is 100% for sure. Like, everybody in the entire world, trans or not, has things that make them sad about themselves or bother them about things they think they can or cannot do. I promise you that, which may sound depressing, but actually it's quite unifying. So for me, I've always had problems with, like, and whether or not this is a thing that is, like, visible to other people or whatever, because as soon as I say it, everybody's like, no, Elf, no, it's fine, you know, because that's what you say. It's facial hair. I fucking hate my facial hair, and it never fully goes away, and it's the worst, and I hate it. But you just deal, right? Like, you just have to deal. Everybody has these things that are worse for them, or better for them, you know. As to, like, thin hair, Rose, I think there's lots of different, like, shampoos and stuff that might be able to help with that. I don't know for sure, because it's not a problem that I have. Like, my hair is fairly thick. But I don't know for that one.
Yeah, my hair tends to get, like, really knotty. Especially, like, now I dye it with, like, temporary dyes. I don't wash it as often as I used to. To be honest, that's actually helped. My hair is healthier now that I only wash it with shampoo once a week.
I mean, it's the same for me, right? Like, I wash it every day.
But my advice with pretty much anything hair related is to at least once suck up the, like, 50 quid to go to, like, a really high-end salon and speak with a stylist and have a stylist do something with your hair and show you how to do it. Because these are people who have, like, degrees and many years experience in doing stuff with hair. Like, they will be able to teach you to do something easy.
I mean, for me, you know, if we're talking about that particular example, let's say, for me, I know that my next thing, and the thing that I'm sure a lot of people totally sympathize with in terms of, like, a lot of interactions, is, like, that would be a great idea if I wasn't literally killing myself with anxiety over the idea of doing it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the next thing that I say. I mean, my hair has not been touched for many years because of that.
My response to that is
suck it up.
not even suck it up. Remember that hairdressers see a lot of different kinds of people, and I've never had a bad experience with a hairdresser. The hairdressers are probably the group of people who accepted me the fastest.
That's fair enough.
So yeah, I don't know.
I mean, cool. All right. What about, like, specific stuff for you, Ash? Because Rose was asking, like, what do you specifically run into problems with? And
I still have trouble with my voice. I've not done any vocal training or anything like that to try and change it. Most of the time I'm fine. It's when I get on the phone and telephones do this thing where they cut the high and the low frequencies to save, like, bandwidth. And so I sound a lot mannier on the phone than I do in real life. Which sucks, but I also I have anxiety about, like, trying to sit and listen to my voice over and over again until I get, like, to the right frequencies or whatever.
I think for me, with the voice thing, it's one of those things where, like, for the first year of my transition, I super cared a lot and had lots of anxiety about it. Now I'm like, you don't like it? Fuck you. Fuck that. I don't care.
Yeah,
Fuck
absolutely.
You know, like, that's how I sound. You know, like I don't know. There's only so much you can do, right?
Yeah, no,
And
I
that's
agree.
the other thing with like many of these kinds of problems, right? Like things that you feel that are difficult for you or that you have a hard time overcoming or whatever.
Hmm.
It either requires like a lot of concerted effort, or it requires moving past the idea that you maybe even need to worry too much about it,
Hmm.
right? And
Absolutely.
that's a lot of that's a lot to process, and that's a lot to say, and that's a very heavy thing to be like, maybe you should just worry less. I know it's hard,
Hmm.
but it happens over time just by itself, I promise.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Eventually, you just get used to all of your quirks and
Yeah.
realize that everyone has them.
Well, it's that whole second puberty thing, right? Where
Hmm.
like you're feeling awkward and weird and you like ugh, you know, and things are odd. But it all settles down as the puberty subsides.
Hmm. Cool.
What else we got? What
Do you
else we
wanna
got?
read the next one?
Where are we? I gotta pull it up. Hang on. I was not prepared. Okay, so we've got one from Shannon here. Um, and she asks that have either of us dealt with the ravages of androgenic alopecia, which is like male pattern baldness, basically.
I did not have to Google
Um,
that.
if so, how did you deal with it? Sadly, Shannon, I don't have any experience with male pattern baldness. I do have friends that are dealing with it, however,
Hmm.
and they say that like hormones in general are super helpful, just in terms of like reducing testosterone and like a
So,
little bit of extra hair growth and that kind of thing
did you know
happen.
that Spyro was originally developed as a treatment for male pattern
I
baldness?
didn't know that, but there you go.
There you go.
There you go. Spironolactone, something I take every day. You know, like it's made to treat male
Yeah,
pattern
and
baldness.
anti-androgens in general, most of them started their lives as treatments for male pattern baldness or various other like problems that men have because they have too high testosterone.
Yeah.
Um, it's why I mean I look at um the big leaf safety leaflet that comes with my decapeptile shot has nothing on it about trans people. It is 100% advice for men taking it as a way to cut down their testosterone.
Yeah. Don't take too much.
Hmm.
Never mind that warning.
Exactly. Um, but yeah, and yeah, I don't have that problem, but it definitely seems to be something that hormones help with. And there are some really great wigs you can buy, and most people
It's true.
aren't going to notice the difference.
At a glance, it's not gonna be a problem. Even at more than that, it's not gonna be a problem.
Hmm.
If you're self-conscious of your hair, cover it with a wig.
Hmm.
I did
Or a
that.
hat,
I did
or
that for yeah, or like 1,000 things.
hmm.
But I did the wig thing for like a whole year because my hair was too short. I hated it. Like it
Hmm.
was too masculine, and I wanted it to grow out before I
Yeah,
sort of like let it be my hair, so to
yeah,
speak.
yeah.
Um, and so like I wore like a shitty cosplay wig for like a year. And you can do a lot better than that, but that's what I
Hmm.
did. I was, yeah, that was me. There's plenty of pictures that exist, I'm sure, on the internet. But yeah, so that's what I did. I don't know. Hit us up with the next one, Ash. What do we got?
Yeah, so the next one comes from Jaded Cynic. She asks, after the marriage equity vote, which I assume is the one in
In
Australia,
Australia? Yeah.
um, will we see a bigger push for trans rights for the end of the decade? I think we're already seeing a huge push for transgender rights and equality, just because if you look at all of the biggest LGBT organizations in countries that have marriage equality, they're all heel turning onto transgender rights right now.
Yeah.
Organizations like Stonewall and I can't remember what the big American like lawyers association is.
I couldn't tell you.
I couldn't tell you either. They're all heel turning onto pushing for transgender equality, and I think that's just what the next big Battlefield is. The ACLU, that's the one.
There you go.
We're.
I think it's one of those things where it's like these things come in stages,
Yeah.
and like marriage equality, gay rights, like all that kind of movement stuff. Like, I think that's like the building block that a lot of this stuff then like stands on top of. Just like rights movements and other rights movements,
Yeah, exactly.
and to build on each other. Like, I don't think it's we will see. I think it's we are seeing more than anything. Like, even if you look at now compared to 10 years ago, like trans rights have come a really long way. They're not as far as I, would like them to. And yeah, when you were saying heel turning,
heel turn is not.
I was thinking about the wrestling term of like them turning into the bad guy. Like,
yeah,
but no,
yeah, no, not
like spin 180.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's more a matter of like, I don't think we're talking about we'll see more of. Maybe in some places it's we'll see more of, because like Australia just passed their marriage equality stuff, and
yes,
so forth. Like, it really depends where you are, right? But
what I expect you'll start seeing in Australia, and this is a warning to batten down the hatches and get ready for it. You will see the moral panic. It will come. It has hit. The United Kingdom has been. We're at the point now where some of the biggest newspapers in the country are printing weekly or daily stories about trans people and how we're ruining the country and how we're going to bring down politics because we're demanding to be on all women shortlists, and that we're infecting all of the children with our trans ideologies. And
I mean, they're not wrong about that. Like, that last one is true. Yeah,
but
about the children.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, what comes with social progress also comes with resistance.
Yeah, there can be no forward movement without a struggle, I would say. Like, you're gonna there's the fight continues, my friends. But I think it's all moving in a good direction. Other than some slip ups in American politics that have screwed years of progress. Otherwise, moving in a good direction. All right, what else? What other lovely questions have you all submitted in this form? Let's see. This one comes from Sonia, and she asks, how would you suggest handling more costly transitory needs, such as hair removal or voice training, that insurance will not cover? Also, were any undue expenses involving legal change of name and gender tag experienced? I'm asking because I'm in the midst of a new move with name change and other factors coming up all at the same time and want to prepare for any surprises. Well, Sonia, I am one of those trans folk, probably in the minority, who still haven't legally changed my name. And the reason is I've got an Australian birth certificate and I live in Canada, and governmental stuff is a nightmare. So I can't speak to that. As to expenses, some of that stuff can be really pricey depending on where you're at and what can be covered. Definitely. I have never engaged in any of the things that you listed. Sort of like as part of my transition, I've never had like laser hair removal or electrolysis. I've never had like voice training. I feel like that's one of those things that, like, if you can't afford, you can do for free, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm like the worst person ever to advise on extra costs, because I just don't pay them. I go like, it's too much.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Which is, it's the same problem as a lot of people have, I think. Ash, help me out here.
So it's already been said in chat, but Groupon is great for laser hair removal and stuff like that. You can get some pretty good deals on just like booking a block of like 8 sessions for like almost like half off sometimes. I can't speak to the effectiveness of any like at-home treatments for laser hair removal or anything like that. Things like IPL work for some people with some skin tones and hair colors and not for other people. So that could be something to look into. And yeah, I think it's hard for me because so much of my stuff is covered by the NHS. Like, if I wanted to, I could get vocal training on the NHS. So I don't have a lot of from the medical side of things. I don't have so much trouble with having to pay for stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I really wish you could be more helpful about sort of the prices of things and like what you might be expecting. What I would say is, like, if it is non-essential and you get to determine what non-essential is, that is up to you. Don't reach beyond your means. You know, like survival and safety and continuing to live, you know, are all way more important than any other thing that you could sort of go for. And none of that other stuff, like hair removal or voice training or whatever, is like the life or death stuff, in my opinion. Because I haven't indulged, right? Like, from my personal experience, I haven't needed it. Excuse me. But yeah, you know, don't reach too far beyond your means. And prices and the way things cost will be determined by where you are. I'm assuming America because of the way you talked about insurance. And what I can say is medical stuff not covered by insurance. Oh boy, yeah, not great.
And on the second part of your question, I don't think we can advise you on any like the aspects of changing your name in America, because it varies by like state by state, and it's all insane and crazy.
What I will say is, if you have any documentation that is weird, like mine, you know, like you were born in Denmark or something, you know, like whatever. I mean, like, expect that to be annoying.
Yes,
that's what I would say. Not insurmountable, but like, I'm looking at an extra $200 at least, you know, which is really annoying.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if you're American, you want to change your name legally in America, depends on what state you're in and how you do that. I can't help you there. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you for your question though, Sonia. What do we got, Ash?
So Gast asks, from a young age, I was taught that women should be held to a higher aesthetic standards than men. I know that's nonsense. I also know that's nonsense. Yeah. But feeling like I'm not pretty enough to be a real woman has caused me a lot of distress lately. Do you have any advice? Fuck that noise. Fuck it. It's bullshit.
I mean, what else do I say? I think like, if you're feeling that way, Gast, that sucks. I know how that feels. Trust me, like that internalized feeling of like not being pretty enough or like aesthetically pleasing enough in a certain way or what have you. The thing that you have to realize, and the thing that I came to realize very quickly, because I'm so much like a person who's on screen a lot and stuff. People have very differing opinions on what they consider to be attractive. Like, like so different. Like everybody, there's no consensus as to what people consider like, oh yeah, hell yeah, that's my thing. You know what I mean? And so even if you think maybe that you're not there, I promise you that other people are not thinking the same thing as you are. It is internalized. It is an internal, horrible feeling that we all have. I still have that a lot, right? Where I'm like, God, I look horrible today, or like, God, I can't deal with this today. You know, and all that stuff. But for me, like the stream has been really therapeutic for that, in terms of just like, oh, okay, nobody mentioned anything. I'm totally good. Nailed it.
Trist in chat has 100% said the right thing in that not feeling you're pretty enough is 100% the most realist woman experience.
It's the realest woman shit out there.
Just ever. Everyone feels like that. Some people, I know some people who will just be like, I felt like crap today. It's 11 p.m., but I'm going to put on a full face of makeup and take a bunch of selfies because I can. And I've done that before, and it makes me feel great.
It's actually. Oh, so go ahead, Ash. Sorry.
Oh no, I was done.
Oh, okay. That was part of my coping mechanism for a long time at the beginning of my transition was take like 100 selfies before I let anybody see me. Find the one that's like, yeah, and then be like, cool, I'm good. I look good from that specific angle in that specific moment, but good.
Yeah.
Fine. Now I can stream.
Yeah.
And that was my early transition coping method, and I heartily recommend it. And ignore all the other ones. Ignore all the other stuff. They're not important. Delete them all. Just keep the one or two like really, really good ones. And just add them to a folder that's all selfies of you. That's what I did. I have a folder that is just selfies of me through the 3 years of my transition. When I'm feeling shit. It's a good method.
I find it really therapeutic to go back and look at old photos of myself and be like, wow, I look like shit. I'm glad I don't look like that anymore.
I'm glad I look way better than that now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably good on that one.
Yeah.
What other stuff we got here? Keter's sending in the standard question of how are both of us so cute, Ash?
Okay, I'm gonna give you a secret. It all comes down to milking the tears of MRAs and just bathing in them.
Gross. I don't want to bathe in anything MRAs have touched. That's awful.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think again, in a true, relatively accurate answer to this question, I'm glad you think that, Keters.
Yeah.
And thanks. Nice boost, to my compliment boost. And that's it. Like I'm like it ties very well to the question just before it, where it's like everybody thinks different people are cute. I might not feel like I'm cute today, but Keters does, so that's nice. Yay! Oh, cool.
Keters is cute as well.
Yeah, I agree. Keters got that tall girl hype.
Yep.
Oh, yes. I feel things about that. I'm not gonna. Okay, I'm done.
No, we don't need to go down the tall girl rabbit hole again.
All right, go. Next question.
Okay, so from Sarah, what would be the I wish I was told knew about this at early stages of your transition? So, for example, knowing about different keywords in searching for healthcare, like gender therapist and informed consent, or knowing about our streams. Aww, that's nice.
I mean, any trans people are welcome to know about my stream and come 100%. Hang out. I wish I knew about me when I started. That sounds really self-absorbed. I swear I'm not that bad. Resources? It's hard to say, like the wish I knew stuff. I think a lot of research goes into when you're starting out. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like what drugs you're going to be looking for, like what your first step should be, like who can legally prescribe you these things, like that sort of stuff. And that will all vary depending on where you are, obviously. So practical advice, I would say, like that stuff is really important if you're just starting. Like, can your GP give you a prescription for hormone replacement therapy? Then you should know if they can or not. When you go in to ask them, you should know that they are allowed to say yes or no. Because that's important to, like, well, I guess I'll go to another one, for example, or not. Other stuff that I wish I'd known, I think like community is important when you're starting out, for sure. You don't want to be isolated or like alone. Here in Edmonton, there's like a trans support group that meets on the first Monday of every month. They're super cool and hype, and I never actually went, but I'm in all their like social media stuff, like lurking around, and even that just made me feel better. And like internet stuff, if that's your thing, you know, join a Discord or a, you know, like a community that is centered around, you know, queer stuff. Yeah, like I recommend, you know, Ash's community.
Yeah.
Like Adam's.
I recommend
like,
Elf's community as well.
Yeah. You know, Adam's community, like any of the people that we're friends with are all really great. But like there's a lot of places where people can help you out, like one-to-one. You know what I mean? Like people who care about your well-being and will be your friends and know what you're going through. And that's the most important shit, in my opinion. Yeah. The other stuff you can just Google. You know what I mean? When you're like, you know, local GP laws or whatever, like, or like drugs that I might need to get, you know, or what have you. Like these things are readily available. Yeah. And there's no like hidden information. That stuff is out there. It's available for you to grab. So do so, you know. Sometimes it can be difficult, and like that feeling where you're like paralyzed with like, oh, do I look, or do I just sit here and stew in my own indecision and horribleness? I promise you, just look, just read some stuff, you'll feel better. I promise you, just a little bit extra info. It's good. Yeah. Anyway, I've been rambling. Ash, you got anything to add to this?
I think one thing I really wish I had known is just to tell my GP to shove it when he tried to pass me off to like local mental health services.
Yeah.
That was like, it was like 2 months of wasted time, and I wasn't very happy about it. So I would have liked to have known beforehand. I could be like, no, you don't have to refer me there. You can just refer me straight to the gender identity clinic. But yeah, like in the UK specifically, it's important. I think one thing to try and work out is find like an up-to-date list of the waiting times for the different clinics. There are a couple different places that try to keep up-to-date lists. I don't know any of them off the top of my head right now. But the Transgender UK subreddit is really good for it. And you can ask your GP to refer you to any clinic. They don't have to refer you to the nearest one. So if you're near London but you have a way of getting to Daventry, you might want to be referred to Daventry instead of London, for example. But yeah, just Google shit. Google everything. I spent like 4 weeks solid Googling shit before I did anything.
I think knowing what you want when you go in is like really important, and that will change depending on who you are, obviously, and where you're going. So like having like a, you know, a hit list, so to speak, of stuff that you got to do or that you won't accept, you know, is really important. And like, because otherwise a GP who's like a tiny bit uncomfortable with you, instead of trying to help you, and this was the experience I had, was instead of trying to help you, they'll just pass you off. It'll be like, oh, this is a thing where I feel like a tiny bit uncomfortable and probably a little transphobic, you know what I mean? You go see someone else, you know, because if you go in and you go like, what do I do? They go like, well, you go see this other person, you know what I mean? Rather than being like, I need this and this is how I feel and I need you to like do these things for me and I know exactly what I want. Then they have a much harder time being like, we'll go see this person. It's like, well, why can't you do it? You know? I feel like being a little bit confrontational is always like sort of helpful.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit.
Just a tiny bit, you know, not angry, but like a little bit.
To push doctors need a push.
That initial reserve, so to speak. All right. What other questions? Is it my turn to read or is it yours?
I think it's your turn.
I think it is my turn. You're right. This one comes to us from Zalbar. He asks, "Hi, Ash and Elf. My brother is going through his first hormone treatments, and a brother, like transitioning to male, so to speak. He's going through first hormone treatments, and I am simply wondering, what's the best way to support someone undergoing transition? I love my brother, but so many things are confusing to me, and I'd be grateful for any advice. Thanks, and stay awesome." So, advice?
I think you're already 100% doing the right thing in.
You're asking us, which
yeah.
is like pretty solid of a thing.
Yeah. It's almost like we know what we're talking about. I would say, be prepared to like defend people. It's nothing has been more important to me when I'm hanging out with my family when one of my brothers like interjects and corrects people's like name usage or pronoun usage or anything like that. My older brother particularly is like on top of that shit, and is great about it. And you know, it feels great to go out to. I went to the cinema a couple weeks ago with my younger brother, and he works there, and like was introducing me to his co-workers as this is my sister Ashley, and I was like, oh, yay.
Yeah.
And it's just the little bits of support like that, like being active in acknowledging your sibling's identity is 100% like an amazing thing to do.
I think Ash is totally right on this. Like the best thing that you can do for somebody you love who's going through a transition period is like cover them. Like be there to protect them from their own, the things that will make them feel shitty, right? Not necessarily like jumping in front of bullets or anything, but like correcting people, making, and as Ash was saying, like making sure that people use the right names and the right pronouns and stuff. And like internalizing your own usage of those things, right? And I don't mean just when they're present. I mean like when you're talking about your brother with your other family members and they get it wrong, you correct them even if he's not there. You know what I mean? Like, or you're talking with your friends, like you correct them, even if they're not there. It's not a thing you do like just to show them that you're supporting them. It's a thing you do to support them. You know what I mean? And that stuff is super helpful, definitely.
Yeah.
Other stuff. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Keaters has brought up in chat like going on testosterone can be like a really big shift in emotions, just as going off testosterone and going on estrogen can be for trans women. Like it's a big change. A lot of trans men describe like just being like more antsy all the time, like being like they get worked up to anger more easily. Not being able to cry is something that a lot of trans men have said to me. Like they go on testosterone and just lose the ability to cry. And with that in mind, I think it's important, especially from family, to like be there when people need like emotional support, which is really difficult for men in general. But like do that, like be emotionally available to your family, and siblings who are transitioning.
Yeah, I think that's like the solid advice. Like I can't add anything that adds content to that. Like be there, help them, whether that be emotionally or what have you, or if they have things they want to ask you, like just help. If you want to help them, you can do that. Like it's very, very possible for sure.
Yeah.
The first step, the most important step is that you want to help them. Like you're asking us how to do it better. That's hella. Like that's so good.
Yeah.
All right. What else? No.
We have a question from Jace the Mind Mage, who's asking what we think about Magic the Gathering. I don't think this is a relevant question.
It's not relevant. The next one that's relevant is the 12th one.
Okay. So from Crobasaur. Hello, Crobasaur. Did the way you make new friends change after your transition? I don't know if it necessarily changed. I definitely make more friends now, but I think that's just because I'm more like emotionally available and
it's just community, right?
Yeah, like I cast a bigger net these days. Which I didn't used to do.
I guess I think the thing for me in regards to that, like making more friends or like new friends, I think definitely I lost some friends. Like that's just stuff that happens. People say they're okay with things and then they just disappear from your life entirely. Like I think that's just like nobody's like fuck you, fuck trans people, I'm out, or at least like not in my experience. But they definitely go like, yeah, I'll support you, and then just never show up again.
Never show up again.
Like, and that's like, okay, I know where you stand. Like, you feeling a little awkward, and that's okay. Like, I guess, but it's kind of shitty. As to making new friends, boy, oh boy, when you start opening the doors to the queer community, you know, you just grab that door handle, open it up. There's lots of new friends in there.
Just this rainbow tidal wave.
There's a shit ton of new friends. And you're not gonna run out. There's a lot of support out there and a lot of people. I think it opened me up to different people, different friends, you know, like different communities. Also, before my transition, I was a shitty, horrible person that hated myself and everyone. You know what I mean? Like, this is just the facts, friends. This is just the facts. I was like a horribly depressed, awful person that, looking back on it, I understand why nobody liked me. You know what I mean? Like, I understand why I had like 3 friends and that was it. You know, like, I understand why I didn't get along with large groups of people and my opinions were divisive, you know? Because I was not in a good way, you know? And it's much healthier now. I'm a much healthier person that can make more healthy relationships and like connect with people on emotional levels.
Yeah, that's the real stuff. Being a friend with yourself and then being able to be friends with more people after that.
Exactly.
That's the
I was not my own friend before I started my transition, that's for sure. Now I am. We're good friends now, me and me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that it's different but the same. I mean, I think making friends is a giant emotional ball of stuff, you know, like we all do it differently. I don't know. I do it at LARP pretty often.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Ash?
Yeah, I mean, make friends. Friends are great. Make different kinds of friends. Have friends who you interact with in different ways. Like, have real life friends and have internet friends. Your internet friends are your real life friends. That's an important thing. And yeah, I think we're at the end.
We're actually at, speaking of chat.
Yes.
Chat is just talking about this. We're at the open question portion of today's event. We've been through all of our pre-allocated questions that we felt that we could address, and now we are at open questions from chat time.
Yeah,
this is the sweet question period where you all in chat are like, hey, I wanted to say a thing but I couldn't, and I didn't see the form, or I never check Twitter, or I'm just like really disconnected from everything that's happening around here. So like, can I ask it now? The answer is, fuck yeah, you can.
Yes.
Bring it.
Absolutely. Ask
questions. Bring them here so that I may consume them whole with mayonnaise.
Fake sweet. The answer is always all of the pizza.
How many more pizza slices should I eat? Yeah, all of them.
Unless you're leaving pizza for breakfast, because breakfast pizza is the best pizza.
That's true. Tokriva asks if we can play some Stellaris together sometime. Probably. I don't know. Maybe. It's a game we both know how to play. So
I need to. I don't have any of the DLC yet, and I need.
Yeah, but I do. So if I host the game, you'll just get them all.
Is that how that works?
That's how it works in multiplayer. Yeah. If I host the game, then you get access to all the DLC. It's pretty good.
Wicked.
Anyway, that's irrelevant to
yes.
to this stream.
Artie Safari, you don't have to be one thing.
No.
You can be all of the things.
Ash, remember we have to read the questions, or at least like restate them. Otherwise, the VOD will have no idea.
Yeah, the VOD will have nothing. Okay, so Artie Safari is asking. They were born female and typically feel feminine, but not female. They sometimes have masculine days and sometimes feminine days. And absolutely, you can be both of those things. You don't have to be a woman or a man to be both of those things. You can be a woman and be both masculine and feminine, or a man and be both masculine and feminine, or in between somewhere, or nowhere on that axis.
I think that you are labeling or laboring under labeling, and that it's not necessarily healthy or necessary to quantify or box everything into these little containers that you keep them in your brain that are like the feminine stuff, the masculine stuff, the sports stuff, the game stuff, like, and it all in these little boxes. You got lots of options, like, and you're not limited by your biology, so to speak, quote unquote. I hate that term, but and you don't need to worry about what that is. There are so many things that are open to you in terms of your choices. Do the things that make you comfortable. Do the things that make you happy. If you're feeling good, feel good. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I would recommend. And I'm a person who doesn't like stick a lot of labels on myself, so I think it's more about how you feel, not about how you identify, so to speak. What else we got?
I really like Killer Cantrip's question. So have you found that post-transition you find it easier to get into RPG characters and maybe work out some personal things through them? Yes, 100%. 100%. I always felt pressured into playing, before I transitioned, either male characters or overly sexualized female characters. And now I'm like, I'm just going to play whatever I want. The next game I play, I'm going to play Lord Flashheart from Blackadder. It's going to be amazing.
Oh boy. I thing with me and RPG characters is I tend to work things out whether I want to or not. They just come out because I of the way that I play certain characters and the way that I do things. My rule is that I don't play male characters ever anymore. Like, I did my time playing male characters. I played a male character for 19, 20 years of my life. Like, I've plenty of experience playing a male, and I'd rather just not do that anymore. But yeah, stuff comes up all the time. Like, the one that hits me the hardest that I remember, like, vividly as a moment was I was playing Zahiri in the Adventurers League game, my tiefling monk. And a little kid NPC was like, "Are you a monster?" And I had a moment of like, that's suddenly just like a little bit too real. There's like a tiny little like, oh, this kid is innocent, asking me an innocent question based in their innocence, but it kind of hurts my feelings. That kind of stuff comes up, and you realize how it relates to your real life, and it's more about that and about how you process those feelings. For me, there's been a lot of that kind of stuff in my role-playing experience. Yes, LARPing as well has done lots of that kind of thing. Yeah, cool. What else we got?
Is there anything you've seen?
I'm scanning. I gotta scroll back up.
Yeah,
things have moved. Something about Minnesota. Skip that. either of you experienced how accessible do you feel that trans healthcare is right now? I'm assuming you both live in the U.S. No, we don't.
No, neither of us live in the US.
Neither of us do, so it might be different where you live. And trying to transition. My girlfriend has been put on a waiting list for hormones for a couple of years by Arianor. I think that trans healthcare is as accessible as the current growing need for trans healthcare, in terms of that it's at a bottleneck because there aren't enough professionals and there are a lot of people seeking professional advice. I think that in the next couple of years, we'll see more professionals come into the field, and probably more trans professionals of trans stuff. Which would be super nice, obviously. And I think that's, that's how it kind of goes. By the way, I live in Canada and Ash lives in the UK. Yeah. So we both, live in places where healthcare is available. And
I think the UK, fingers crossed, things should be improving, because as bad as the NHS is right now, and as much as I do not like the Tory government, they are trying. There are people in the government right now who are trying to improve the situation in this country for trans people, and that includes improving the funding that goes into both mental health care and trans health care, which should alleviate some of the stress on waiting lists. The waiting lists suck.
Yeah, they do.
But it's slowly going to get better.
I mean, I waited for 2 years here. Like it's one of those things where, like, it sucks, but sometimes it's just the facts of life. Not everything goes easy or simple. And I hope that, with you two together there, that you can support her in, the time between waiting list stuff. How do you deal with people giving you grief in public, Ash? Is really struggling to handle other people's reactions right now.
I'm going to be 100% honest in that I don't know whether it's due to my bad hearing or just plain luck, but I've never been griefed in public.
I've only ever had one instance. Yeah. I don't have a lot of practical advice for this, because the griefing I get is on the internet, and my best advice for you, which I think applies to real life if you're not in a dangerous situation, is fuck them and ignore that shit.
Yeah.
And if it's like you're at a cash or something in a store and somebody gives you a weird look, you might be internalizing that. Not that I want to dismiss anything, but like I was a very jumpy early transition person, and I assumed people were looking at me strangely when they really weren't. Like they really don't care, and that kind of thing, and it'd be helpful to kind of move through that. But as to the only time I've been harassed in public, it was by a pizza guy at my door. Gave me the pizza. I took the pizza. As I'm closing the door, he says something very insensitive. I'm not gonna repeat it because I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to. But like, I like to think I got that pizza guy fired because I called the restaurant and I was like, "Your pizza guy is a fucking transphobic asshole. This is his name. He's on my fucking order. He, slurred me to my face.
I hope
so.
Fired.
So do something about that. I got like $100 of free pizza off of it. So
nice. That's pretty good.
But yeah. So I really hope that got them some trouble. That's it.
Luceror asks, is it possible or safe to transition in the UK DIY? For whatever reason you can't see a GP, how would you go about it? I do not recommend DIYing your meds.
No.
Especially if you cannot see a GP who's going to be able to give you blood tests.
Yeah. It's dangerous.
It's not even just your hormone levels, it's your liver function and your prolactin levels, and so many other things that can just go drastically wrong. But here's the realist thing. Because of the way medication pricing works in this country, it is actually cheaper to go to a private gender clinic, so like Gender GP or Dr. Lorimer's gender clinic, and pay for private sessions and private prescriptions than it is to buy the drugs online.
Yep.
which is
I have had friends. This isn't in the UK. This is like in Canada, obviously. But I've had friends who did the DIY thing because they were impatient. You know what I mean? In terms of like, and I get that. I really do. I was tempted too, but they got like ripped off. The shit they got was like fake, basically. Like they were buying like the like stuff that didn't work. You know, or was not as advertised and like dangerous shit. You know what I mean? Like this is not a path you take lightly if you are a risk averse person. Like I'm not saying don't do it because I don't know what you need and I don't know what your expertise is and I don't know, you know, what any of that. But I would harshly recommend against it. Like strictly. Because you will just end up hurting yourself. Or if you don't, you're better off like going to somebody who knows what they're doing or can like advise you at the very least. Really, really, really important for your health and your life. You know, as I've said, be safe. Always be safe first.
Always be safe first
in every aspect of your life. You know, like safety first. And drugs are a hell of a place to be unsafe. That's all I gotta say. What else we got?
Arianor is asking, what age did we start taking hormones? One thing they're worried about is that they're starting too late. Says
Never
they're
too
19.
late.
19.
19!
19!
I wish 19. Fuck. I was like 23. You know?
Yeah,
like,
I was 23 as well.
Never too late. Never too late, my friend. Don't worry too much about that. Sooner is better. Later does not hurt you.
The best time to start hormones
13
is like 13 years ago. The second best time to start hormones is right now.
It's right now, yeah. Yeah, you know, it's not gonna change. Never too late, guys. I know lots of trans people who transition far later than I have, like 29 from Curvasaur there, and like I know people who started in their 30s, 40s. You know, like it's fine. It's never too late. It's good.
Yeah.
Look at me and Ash. We're doing just great. You know, like it's fine.
Yeah.
You got plenty of years in you yet, my friend. I saw one earlier that I wanted to address. Oh yeah, Jost asked, when accompanying a trans masculine friend to a gendered place where they feel uncomfortable, men's changing room, bathroom, etc., what can I do or should I do and what should I avoid? You know, like they feel uncomfortable and Jost wants to help them, right? My advice is like just show them it's not scary and eventually they will become comfortable in those places. I learned very quickly that bathrooms are for peeing and then you just leave. You know, there's really like there's no engagement in a bathroom with other people,
especially in a men's bathroom.
Yeah, especially in a men's bathroom. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about it like that. Changing rooms, I mean, private stalls, stuff like that. People, you know, like it's one of those things where like being there for them and supporting them and going, you know what I mean? To support, right? And knowing that you're in that place with them can be really helpful to start, you know, as like a little bit of a crutch, right? But that's all you really need to do. Just be there with them, for them, to support them in those places if they're feeling uncomfortable. But also, I feel like after some time where there's no problems, you know, that feeling will fade. At least it did for me. Though to be fair, there are still places that, you know, make nervous. Stores are mine. I'm bad at shopping for myself. But yeah, just being around. It's really helpful. I don't know. I think that's that.
Yeah. Unicorn of Blades asks how expensive transitioning was with like medical stuff. I recommend you go watch episode 2 of The Transgender, where we talked about navigating healthcare.
All of it. Yeah. All of the navigating healthcare stuff. You can find episode 2 of The Trans Agenda with all that information on the lovely Ashley Nova's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
What else? Radio Green Tea asks, the show is great. Thanks for doing it. Female, but I mostly feel like a woman in terms of being in solidarity with other women, if that makes sense. I'd love if you'd say a little about what being a woman feels like / means to you as individuals. Deep question.
It's a very deep question.
Delving the shadowy depths of my soul to bring up these kinds of answers. But Ash, you go first so that I have time to prepare.
That means I don't have time to prepare.
Why do you think I asked you to go first?
I don't know.
That's fair. That's totally a fair response. Yeah, I don't know.
I part of it is having an affinity for things that are generally associated with women, but I don't think that's a
it's not really
that's
an
a thing
answer.
that makes you a woman.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a very complicated question, and I don't know.
It's about how you feel, right? So it's not
Yeah.
about like what the objective answer to who is a woman. You know what I mean? It's about you.
I feel like that my so it is when I am acknowledged as a woman by other people, I get a hit of those endorphins.
That sweet dopamine.
That dopamine in my head, which I never got when people acknowledged me as male.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, like the idea of what it means to me to be like not like a woman, so to speak. This is a tough question for anybody, right? Like, what does it mean to you that your gender is your gender, sort of thing. But I think for me, it's one of those things where it's like I know what it feels like when I wasn't, and when I wasn't, I was a horrible, shitty, depressed person. And so now that I'm not, that's what it means to me. It means pretty much my whole life because otherwise I'd be dead. You know, like that's the plain and simple facts of the matter. And so I would say, yeah, like the idea of my identity means everything to me because without a positive and affirming identity, I would have killed myself several years ago. So there you go. I think that's probably the answer. Like I said, delving the dark depths of my soul for that one.
Yes. So Sarah asks, any advice on how to pick yourself up after having a bad day, really having trouble with dysphoria? Tea. 100% make a cup of tea. Sit down. Don't like remove internet, remove all outside stimulus. You drink a cup of tea. Or an energy drink or coffee or whatever your chosen caffeinated beverage is.
Tea is advice. I mean, fine, okay, that's fine. I just don't agree with it.
That's fine. That's how I do.
I don't agree with it because I don't drink tea, so it's just like one of those like I would never do this like things.
Yeah, it's me being too British.
For me, I think it's one of those things where like that selfie trick helps me, taking a bunch of selfies and being like, I look good in that one. Bam, done. New profile picture on Facebook. Look at me having a dysphoric day, but I'm still awesome, kind of thing. Alternately, I just know that some days are going to be bad, and when some days are bad, sometimes you just need to sleep all day, and that's okay. It's okay to be sad about stuff. It's okay to be, uncomfortable about things. It's okay to have a little bit of a wallow sometimes. That's what I do. Works for me.
Sorry, Tris just.
I know. Yeah. So like, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think if you find a trick that works for you, like dressing up a little bit or like makeup or that kind of stuff, or tea if that's your jam, or jam if that's your jam. I think that's great, but I also think that like acknowledging that you're feeling bad and feeling bad is okay. Like you don't have to pick yourself up if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Just know that this too will pass. These things will fade. I think that's the important thing. Piping hot cup of jam? You're so weird, Elf. Damn it, Noble. Sea moss is with me. A spoon and a pot of jam, easy.
Yeah, definitely.
Any other delightful questions from the audience?
Emilirus has a very long question, but I don't know if it's necessarily something
I feel like the answer to you don't want to go by a place is don't. Like,
yes.
There's another way to go that way.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel like you would rather walk 5 minutes out of your way than pass by a certain corner or whatever because you know that there's a dude who sucks there, just take that extra 5 minutes and make yourself feel better. There's no reason to put yourself in that situation if you don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think we're at.
We hit maximum question.
Yeah,
so to speak. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, there you are, my dear friends. The 4th episode of the fantastic Trans Agenda with the lovely Ashley Nova and the resplendent me. So we will see you 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now,
yeah. So we'll see you in our bi-weekly show, but 2 weeks from now, which would be I'm not gonna math.
No.
7th?
Yeah, something like that.
Or 6th? Somewhere in there.
I'm just gonna look
Whatever.
at my
It doesn't fucking matter. It's not important. It's the 6th. Ha. Cool. So great. So 2 weeks from now, and that'll be great. We don't know what we're doing yet, but we'll figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why don't you play us out? Ash, tell us who you are and where to find you.
I have been Ashley Nova. This is my channel. If you want to follow me for lots of cool stuff. I've been playing a bunch of Stellaris at the moment because of this one and everyone else who was playing a bunch of Stellaris. And you can follow me on Twitter at Ashley_Nova_. Elf, tell the lovely people where to find you.
Hello, my dear friends. I am Distracted Elf. You can find me at twitch.tv/DistractedElf or on Twitter at Distracted Elf. You can find me anywhere that Distracted Elves are found. Just any Distracted Elf is probably me on the whole internet.
The whole internet.
the vast reaches of the internet. So you can find me in those places. Yeah, cool. Awesome. That's it. That's all I've got. Thank you for your lovely questions. I'm sure we'll do another questions segment at some point where we do like a forum and submit stuff and whatever, because I feel like that went really well.
Yeah.
As always, keep yourself awesome or whatever.
Be amazing.
I don't have a line.
Don't be not amazing.
Don't be not amazing. Okay, that's perfect. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay, cool. See you guys later. Bye.